All right, welcome back. We're in part 2. So now I'm going to actually write the program. So let's do that. So I want to teach you about a couple of things today. The biggest one is variables. Let's talk about variables. Okay? Variables are like mailboxes, right? So everybody has a mailbox, and you're going to store different things. I'm going to push this over here for now so we can see that. Okay? So I'm going to say here, string name equals Norris. That's my name. You should put yours, right? And I will say here, well, I don't know why the tabs. Let's fix this. Okay, my tabs are better. Good. Okay. I'm gonna say int num apples equals, I don't know. Let's say 10 apples. That sounds great. We're gonna do some stuff later. I'm gonna tab this over, make it easy. Int our whole numbers. So 3 or but not 3.5, right? Okay, so this is types of numbers. Okay, and I can say double price each equals, I'm going to say 25 cents, right? Double stands for floating point. Yes, that's silly. Double our numbers like 350 or 1.03, right? Okay, good. So now we know how these numbers work. And now I'm going to say, welcome to the, right? Okay. And then I want to print more than one thing on this line. So I'm going to say name apple farm. Okay. And now I have a program that's going to print out, welcome to the Norris apple farm. We're selling apples today, I guess. I think the fruit, not the computer. So I'm going to run it. And it worked. Right. Now, how does this work? So this is a little tricky, but it's like an assembly line or like a conveyor belt. Put words or numbers on the order they should print out. Okay. So if you've ever had a Python class, print is what this is. So we have cout, and we are not doing this. And so I'm going to say here we have, okay. And then I'm going to say num apples. I like using underscores. Some people like to use a different way, but that's just what I find easier to use. So I'm going to use the way that works for me. What you should use is whichever style your boss or your instructor prefers. If you really want to do it a different way, then I encourage you to start your own business at some point. And then you can choose what you want or write your own project. And you could say, I'm going to do it a certain way. So say in stock. So what I want to say is something like, we have 20 apples in stock. They're a quarter each. Total is like $5. That math is wrong. I'm a computer science teacher, not a math teacher. Cool. We have 10 in stock. So look what happened. This is like really ugly, unfortunately. So you have to decide for yourself if you want spaces. It makes no difference. The program still runs, but it's harder to read. And my English teachers in college told me, if something's hard to read, you're making somebody's life difficult for no reason. And that kind of stuck with me. like I just want to keep it simple, right? Think about when you're trying to use the automated cash register, and it's like, do I push yellow for yes, or do I push red for yes? Like sometimes it's very weird. So if you think about what the experience is like using your program, you're going to be a better programmer. And I'm going to say each apple costs, put my space in, right? Price each. Cool. And then I'm going to say, I'll make a new variable, and I'll say, let's do some math. This is really not like math, it's arithmetic. So I'll say total price equals num apples. And what's kind of cool is you notice, if maybe you misspelled it, you can look at this and see there's a lot of other stuff. But after a while, it's like, oh, you meant num apples. Times, so we'll do multiplication, price each, okay, Now this isn't going to work because I have to make a new variable. So now here's a question. In general, prices should be doubles. So I'm going to set this price to double. Okay. And then now the little errors go away. And then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to say, so the program would run now, so I'm going to run it to prove it. I recommend, to make your life easier, that you, every time you write a line or two, try to run the program and see if it works. Because if you wait until the program is typed in, or God forbid you copy and paste it, and then you have 12 errors, it's going to be a couple of weeks before I can teach you how to fix that kind of problem. But if you have one error, you can just check that line or the line above it or below it and just see, oh, let me show you what I mean. So I'm gonna make an error, and I'm gonna say end one, because that's an easy thing to do, right? And it looks kind of. Now, one thing you might notice, it didn't change color. Oh, I just realized that. You guys are probably looking at light theme. You should probably go pick dark theme. I don't care which one you want. You can use whatever you want. But I think dark theme works better for me because I'm making the video at night. Okay, this says end one instead of end L. See, that looks terrible. I wish the font wasn't so similar. And I have an error, and I'm going to say, this is really important, okay? Do not click the shiny button. Click, remember my choice, show errors. All right, if your car had brakes not working, would you push the button that said drive to work anyway? I hope you wouldn't, right? That's how I remember this. So this says end one is not declared, and I'm like, it's line 21, so I check the 21 and go, oh, I meant to type end L, okay? I hope this is working. And now it looks like it's going to work. And so I recommend you do that every so often, okay? Learning C++ is not much different from learning Spanish or learning Japanese or what have you. If you know a couple languages, computer languages, it's very easy to pick up. If it's your first computer language, it feels hard because it's like the first language maybe you've learned that wasn't originally written for humans. It's written for humans and computers both. But it gets easier. If you practice, if you type a lot of code in and run it and find little silly errors like, oh, I misspelled a word, and you fix them, you will become a better programmer. If you consistently just copy and paste code from somewhere and don't do it yourself, well, like I said, that's like going to the gym and watching people work out. It might be fun, but it doesn't make you healthier. So, okay, hopefully that explains it. So now let's finish the program. Thanks for going with my little rambling. So I want to do this, and I'll say finally, print the answer. And the answer is how much it costs. So I would say, I don't know how I messed up my tabs. Let's see if I can fix that. All right, it doesn't matter. I'm just getting I get a little froofy if my code doesn't line up. Okay, so I will say cout. I'll put a $sign there. And I will say total price. And now, I don't want to confuse you too much, but I'm going to put a $sign here too, because it looks a little better. Okay. So let's look at our code. You can always pause the video if you need to. Put a couple variables in. I'm doing some printout. All stuff you're going to see a lot of in the chapter. So you'll get lots of practice doing this. And again, the more you practice, the easier it gets. Let's see if it worked. I did not go back and look at the original video. I just tried to make a better video for you guys, and I think we're good. So, I kind of wanted to say 250, but this is fine. Okay, it's the right answer. It just looks a little funky. So we're done. What do we do when we're done? Well, you could either download the file, which is not a bad idea. Maybe you just want to be like, oh, I want to download this file here. And I do, where is it? Download. That's cool. And I can take a screenshot and do all that good stuff. That's fine if you want to do that. And I did, and that's fine. So you can download the file and take a screenshot, turn it into Blackboard. You can also go here and say m2t1 done. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm going to commit and sync changes. You have to do both. So again, you probably had a bunch of pop-ups. You can click don't show again. It's fine. So now when I go back here and I look, it's like, wow, all my file has changed. And what's interesting is I can actually view the history. Okay? this is kind of a cool way to tell people from robots, because a computer can write the whole program in one pass, but people will usually want to check it in a few times. Why would you want to establish you're not a robot? Because presumably you want to get hired, right? They don't hire robots; people rent them, but people they hire. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. So here's my code, and I can just take this right here, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to make sure it works. If this works, I can just paste this. Okay. Remember, if you don't commit and sync, then you can't see it on the web page. And that's a good thing, because sometimes you'll work on a program and you'll break it. So you can just close the code space and pretend nothing happened, because until you check your mistakes in, they don't apply to this. Okay. I used to tell people to bring a flash drive around so you can keep copies of all your code. Now I say get a GitHub account. Why do that? Well, Microsoft has deep pockets, and they're interested in people using GitHub. So that's cool. So now you would just turn that file in. All right, I hope that works, and please email me at norrisa@ftcc.edu. You know, the usual, FateXCC. Otherwise, I'll talk to you in the next video.